Hello everyone, my name is Wing Supernova and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the last episode we were only able to really prove what time the victim ingested the poison and pretty much nothing else, and now we have to do a summation examination because of our failures. Yeah, last episode was a bit of a warm-up, getting me back up into speed to doing this stuff. So yeah, we'll just get right into this. And at the end of this episode, maybe I'll talk a little bit about some of the games that I'm interested in playing at the beginning of next year. You know, they don't have release dates yet, but whenever they come out, definitely some of the stuff that we're looking forward to next year. The victim may not be well off, but he's a noble man and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man.
Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all the while, and has a mustache. Very fishy.
What a dickbag. The fuck?
There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman. For now, at least.
Interesting. I really don't care, I just need this trial to end quickly.
3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know. Nothing at all.
I knew it. Every single one of them seems completely convinced. Do they, though?
It would seem that all the jurors have come to the conclusion that Mr. Shamspeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen.
So we need to attack his credibility? If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange theatrical movements.
And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all.
Well, here goes. Let's not forget. I've pleaded with the jury on Soseki-san's behalf before and it worked, so you never know.
Before we begin, it might be an idea for me to remind you exactly how a summation examination works, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh.
Well, you're still very new to British law, after all.
That's true, I suppose, and Soseki-san's fate is entirely in my hands now, too. There's always a chance I might have forgotten some crucial detail. Perhaps I should hear Susato-san out. I wonder, should I let her talk me through it again, or not bother? I am fine. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo, and I'm fine. Thank you for the kind offer, Miss Susato, but I've been through plenty of these summation examinations already now. I think it's important that we don't delay the start any longer than necessary.
Of course, I understand, and I'm quite sure you're right. If you're confused by anything at any point, you can turn to me for advice whenever you like. I'll be here for you.
The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement, finding two that are contradictory, and pitting the corresponding jurors against each other. Without further ado, please, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Well, I can press every single one of these, which is what I'm going to do before I do anything. Well, there are plenty of people in London who seem noble but poor. Couldn't some of them also be liars?
I've no doubt about it. Like that shaky client of yours, for example.
Absolutely not. Mr. Natsume is no liar.
Look, the point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was a Japanese man's tea. When you take the gas man's testimony into account as well, the truth couldn't be any clearer.
Well, that's alarmingly logical.
But let me be frank here. I'm a gentleman, with a gentleman's values. If it turns out that the old Shakespearean chum is a rotten liar after all, I'd gladly change my decision about the defendant. And I'm sure my fellow gentlemen on the jury would do the same. Isn't that right?
Well, yes, perhaps, though I don't see it happening.
What's that? Elderly gent on the end here, you know. You'll have to speak up. Look, I really don't care about all this nonsense. I just need the trial to be over.
How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury, then? All right, sir. I may hold you to that. Don't forget what you said.
Hold it!
Are you saying you believe the man to be trustworthy because he's rather splendid?
No, that's not what I said. The point is, the man is the victim here. What reason would he have to lie? And yes, he is rather splendid.
So you say, yet again.
Meanwhile, the man who stands accused behaves so suspiciously it's exhausting to look at him. I'm afraid he's not splendid at all.
Splendid logic there, madam. Thank you so much.
Hold it!
Oh boy. Oh boy. Voice crack at the age of 24. Drink water so it doesn't happen again, hopefully. No, not one of those things. Not one of those things is a reason to find... Not one of those things is a reason to find the man guilty. That was a weirdly worded sentence.
But he is fishy. There's no point dancing around the fact. He's Japanese, he has a mustache, and he stoops. That's fucking racist. You see, you arrive at the conclusion in just 3 steps. 3 steps like a waltz, in fact. One of the steps is based on racism because I don't fucking understand what people from other countries do. You know, the more I think about it, the more this trial seems like a dance.
You seem to be several steps ahead of yourself, though, and you're on the wrong foot. No, there's nothing but circumstantial evidence here. There's no actual proof of the defendant's guilt.
But the victim's version of events is backed up by what the big chin man next to him says, isn't it? 1, he saw the Japanese man there. 2, he saw no one else. And 3, he saw the Japanese man there. Oh, that's another 3 steps.
I fucking hate this guy.
Well, this really does seem more like a waltz, doesn't it?
Right, and the prosecution will waltz its way to victory if I let you speak anymore.
Hold it!
A fraudsman? What do you mean by that, madam?
It really is a most tiresome problem for the company, most irritating. We can be absolutely certain that a customer is stealing from us, but without hard evidence.
Oh, you're one of the executives, potentially, at the gas company? Well, you are wearing that yellow.
We can't even threaten to take action for fear of being sued.
I'm sorry, you've lost me a little there.
Who are you? I'm the wife of Augustus Altamont, owner of the Altamont Gas Company.
Good gracious! Altamont Gas, you say?
Gas is the future of energy in this country and around the globe, but proper handling is essential. As I'm sure our employee from the East End branch office would be the first to agree.
Absolutely, Lady Quimby. Got to be used properly. Altamont Gas is the best in the world, of course.
Ah, I think we may have solved the mystery of the bow from earlier, Mr. Naruhodo.
Right. Oh, the bow. He bowed in deference to his employer's wife, did he? Ah, so would I be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Meterman was watching what Mr. Shamspear was up to in his room?
I'm afraid that there's no end to the lengths the population of the East End will go to in order to steal our gas. So I really have no choice when the company identifies somebody as a possible fraudsman. But to dispatch a worker to watch the suspect day and night, we're very thorough in our investigations.
So you mean Mr. Shamspear is...
I wouldn't come out and say it in public.
But you can finish that sentence with a grubby little gas thief. You've noticed the public gallery in here, have you?
The eye of man hath not heard. The ear of man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wound me with thy words, were I to let them penetrate the skin? But seraphs hear not insults, only choirs of angels in song. We may not have evidence yet, but my workers won't stop buzzing around you until they find it.
And when they do, you'll find yourself blasted to your angelic heights in an Altamont gas explosion. So, Mr. Shamspear has been stealing gas. I wonder, juror number 4, if you wouldn't mind adding that information to your statement?
My pleasure. Was it the bit about ripping that thief apart you enjoyed?
A little before the part about abject violence, if it's not too much trouble.
Yes, of course.
This could be it. This could shift the balance. We'll see. The victim puts on a fine performance, but in reality, he's a common thief of my company's gas. So can I pit her with him? I have to show he's a liar first before I do that. So yeah, we'll keep going. You keep talking about needing to take home some money. What's all that about, sir?
Finish last, that's what it's about.
What's that?
I'm talking about the Derby at Hyde Park, aren't I? It was the Queen's Cup last week, wasn't it?
Derby?
It was a dead cert, that's the thing. I couldn't lose, so I took my wife's secret savings, like. But then, that hopeless old mare went and did the unthinkable. Ah, that stupid Finnish lass.
Oh dear, I think it's clear what happened, isn't it?
This is the day the missus uses her savings for a trip down to the pub. So come on, let this business lie now. Just give up.
No, that's not going to happen. Alright, so he's a lost cause.
Hold it!
What do you really mean by that, sir?
Well, I'm not one to boast, but I get up at 5 every morning, I do.
At 5? You're a really early riser then, aren't you?
What's that now?
I said you're an early riser.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I like to while away the hours in the evening reading books as well. But by about 2 in the morning, I'm usually too tired to go on.
He sleeps at 2 in the morning and gets up at 5? Oh my, that means he only has 3 hours of sleep each night.
What's that, dear?
Only 3 hours of sleep each night!
That's right, you see. The 3 hours of missing time, like I said. It's not much, is it?
This really isn't helping. Alright, so that did nothing.
The key to summation examinations is identifying contradictions between jurors' statements, Mr. Naruhodo.
Right, and once I've found 2 jurors whose statements can't coexist, I need to pit those jurors against each other. Then hopefully, when they see what they're saying doesn't make sense, they'll change their leaning.
Yes, and if you're able to change the minds of a majority of the jurors, the trial will continue. But conversely, if you're unable to do that, the judge will declare the trial over and move to adjudication.
And I can't let that happen. Somehow or other, I have to turn this trial around. Okay. Is it this one? I think it might be this one and this one. He has no reason to lie. He does have a reason to lie because of this.
Objection!
Nope, that's not it. These 2 statements are fundamentally at odds with one another. Nope.
My lord, as foreman of the jury, I must object.
What?
Being their leader, it's my duty to stand up for all jurors here present, and stand up for them I will. I concur with the foreman. Counsel, I warn you. I shan't abide any pettifoggery. Until you've got your facts straight, keep your pointy fingers to yourself.
I thought I did.
We're trying to find inconsistencies in these jurors' statements, Mr. Naruhodo. The key to it is comparing the different things they say before attempting to pit them against one another.
Alright, I'll have another go. Let's go ahead and save now that I've lost health. Okay. So, we want this one pitted with that one, right?
Objection!
Okay, yeah, that one's it. Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious, whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number 1.
Eh? What are you yelling about, lad?
I presume you've heard juror number 4's statement, made by the wife of the owner of Altamont Gas.
Well, yes.
the victim, who you claim to be a noble, straight-up man, in fact turns out to be a common thief.
So the good lady says, but there's no evidence, is there? You and I both heard them say as much.
It's true, we don't have any evidence as such, just yet. But the claims aren't baseless, you know.
What?
You heard me. Seeing as his operation has already been compromised, I would suggest that the court hears testimony from our East End branch office employee over there.
I'll do whatever you say, my lady. Gasman's honor.
Juror number 1, you say you're a man of your word. If I could show that Mr. Shamspeare was a liar, you assured me that you would reconsider your decision about the defendant's guilt.
Yes, I did say that. And as a man of honor, I'll hold to it, as I'm sure the other gentlemen of the jury will.
Me? Oh, well, yes. Now that we've found the man's a liar, perhaps we ought to consider the matter further.
Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't heard half of what you've all been saying. So if this means you'll recap a few points, that would suit me down to the ground.
Oh no, I'm not having any part of this. I want this trial over and done with.
In that case, I shall change my leaning.
So, Mr. William Shamspeare, if that is your real name, we of the jury demand to know exactly what kind of a man you really are.
Bo. That was a quick one. That's 4 jurors. 4 for not guilty. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Victory! That was quick.
Order. Well, this is quite extraordinary, I must say. As a result of the defense's summation examination, the jury's leaning has changed. Now only 2 jurors say guilty, while 4 say not guilty. I therefore declare this court to be in a state of disaccord, and order the trial to continue.
Oh, he mad.
You have spoilt the bouquet, Mr. Shamspeare. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury now find that they are unable to trust you, the victim.
Is he doing the fucking hear no evil, see no evil? But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. So God mend me. I do swear. This gasman speaketh that which concerns him most, not but gas, not but thin air. It burneth bright a while, but it hath no substance, and it doth reek foul.
Oi, what did you say?
Do I take it, Mr. Shamspeare, that you deny the allegations of gas thievery?
I think the weird part here is that we saw them both together before, so did he confront him 2 days ago? Because we have seen them both together in the same place before. And I think they ran off together as well. Weird. Most heartily, my lord, hast thou forgot? I am as a seraph, an angel, noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily, honest of heart.
Ah, you flowery-mouthed, pompous beanpole, just 'cause I haven't got the evidence yet.
Mr. Shamspeare, if, in fact, you are not noble of mind, sweet of nature, or honest of heart, if you are a liar, then your testimony should have no sway in this courtroom.
It is my considered opinion that at the present time no other possible culprit of this crime has been identified. All testimony heard by the court thus far heavily implicates the defendant. In short, it would not be unreasonable at this stage for me to rule on this case.
Oh no.
However, in light of the fact that the jury has expressed concern about the fidelity of this witness, I believe it would be inappropriate for this court to not pursue the point further. Also, the fact that they fucking interrupted our... they interrupted our fucking cross-examination the last time.
Objection! I assure you, my lord, that would be a waste of the court's time. The gas in this case are unrelated.
Juror number 4.
Yes?
Didn't you say before that although you had no hard evidence to prove the man had been stealing gas, you have strong grounds for suspecting him?
That's right, we do. Don't we, worker?
Absolutely, Lady Quimby. Guestman's honor.
Very well then, we will hear your testimony now. You will tell the court precisely why you believe the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, has been stealing gas.
Yes, my lord. It'll be my pleasure. On the Altamont gas name, I swear...
If I may, my lord.
Go ahead, madam.
This worker's testimony may have a significant bearing on the good name of my husband's company. Therefore, I should like to take the stand alongside him in a supervisory role, if you wouldn't mind.
Woohoo! Oh yeah, sweetest honey!
Fucking hell.
Very well. As an exception, I shall honor your request.
This is a little suspicious to me.
Thank you, my lord.
You wait till the boss gives you an earful. Oh, it's gonna sting, mark my words.
Going with the B stuff still, I guess.
So, you will both testify before the court on the subject of the illegal consumption of the Altamont Gas Company's fuel.
Yes. Is that clear, my good man?
Clear as Altamont gas, my lady. Which is the clearest in the world.
Do you think the gas has gone to his head, Miss Susato?
I think the man is just a very dedicated employee, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sure. So is it all 3 of them, or is it just these 2? I think it might just be these 2.
I'm proud to be the company's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent. Altamont gas meters accept through penny bits, each coin giving customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas.
And yet, the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room didn't have a single coin in it. The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though, and the collection agent has the only key.
Somehow he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thieving, what is? Pray forgive the discourtesy. The irrelevance of this testimony caused me to turn to my hollowed chalice.
What do you mean by that remark, Lord Van Zeeks?
Did the mustachioed Nipponese poison the gangling excuse for an actor, or didn't he? That is all that should concern this court. And yet now we must listen to this abhorrence. Clearly what separates the vast British Empire and your Eastern Island nation is more than geographical distance.
But this could turn out to be crucial testimony. The cross-examination must go ahead. God damn. Well, the poor gallery, man.
Do what you will.
Lord Van Zeeks appears to be in a violent mood.
Yes, he does. An attempted poisoning and an incidence of gas theft with no supporting evidence. It's true that they would appear completely unrelated at first glance, but I wonder, the truth tends to be buried in the most unusual places, and the first step in uncovering it will be to establish just who and what this man really is. I suppose it will. Let me take a drink. Okay, we're good.
I'm proud to be the company's Eastern branch leader.
I'm not speaking any more than I have to because, it does great on my voice doing this for a while. So does that mean you enter people's houses in order to empty their gas meters?
That I do. I have to try to catch people when they're in. Then I ask permission to come inside and do my business.
Does that mean you've been into Mr. Natsume's room before, as well as that of Mr. Shamspear?
Well now, interesting you should bring that up, because I couldn't believe how little money was in his meter. I mean, how the pair of them survived the winter is beyond me, it really is.
Knowing Mr. Natsume, he probably spends all his gas money on books.
And then when he's finished reading them, he probably burns them for warmth.
You will kindly reiterate your statement about the gas meters themselves, Mr. Meterman. Not much to say, really, but as you wish.
Boop. There we go. So, all London houses that have a gas supply are fitted with these gas meters, are they?
They're the latest model, the height of technology, developed by our company, Altamont Gas. And anyone who uses our gas will have one of these meters in their property, yes.
So if a 3-pence coin gives 2 hours of gas, most people would use about 3 coins in a night?
A bit more than that usually, if they have both gas lights and a gas stove, that is.
Thinking about it, Soseki-san doesn't have a fireplace in that room of his, does he?
Some people still choose to use candles, of course, and only have gas for heating. Ah, yes, I do remember seeing candles in Mr. Natsume's room, actually.
And how does the money in the meter get back to you at the gas company?
Every 3 days, gasmen like me visit properties on the gas supply and empty the meters of coins.
I must say, the design and manufacture of the new meter cost the company an awful lot of money. But happily, it did put a stop to people not paying their dues, for the most part.
Ah, because they have to pay in advance, you mean?
Yes, exactly right.
And yet the meter in Mr. Shamspear's room didn't have a single coin in it. Out of interest, how long has this been going on?
Weeks and weeks! He's been pinching gas off us for ages.
And you've examined the meter in Mr. Shamspear's room, I take it?
Naturally. We took it off the wall and went over it with a fine-tooth comb.
And found nothing suspicious at all, I presume.
No, I'm afraid we didn't. Which is exactly why I demanded a new type of meter to be produced. One with an indestructible lock. The Shamspear Special.
That sounds like it would have cost an awful lot of 3-penny pieces.
But even after that, the rascal's meter was still empty.
I'll never forgive the humiliation. When I opened up the money box and found it bare. You what? I said. You what? And the look on his face, the smarmy smile of his. I pulled the meter straight off the wall and took it back to the office. But you know what? Nothing. Not a trace of it being jimmied open anywhere. Not a single sign. And what's happening to my salary as a result? Down by 3 shillings a day, that's what.
A life-threatening situation, in a number of ways. Incidentally, what became of that meter?
Nothing became of it. I've still got it.
Oh.
Right here.
Oh, okay. That's fine. No wonder they call you Meterman.
I think it would be prudent for the court to sequester this item while the trial is still ongoing.
Okay, time to look at a new piece of evidence. Let's go. Let me examine the fuck out of this. Oh, well, hi. There you go. Oh, what's...
Have you spotted something, Mr. Naruhodo?
Just here. There's a little hole. Do you see?
Goodness, you're right. I wouldn't have noticed.
It's not a very neat hole, is it? Not professionally made, I'd say.
So, you think it might have been opened up by Mr. Shamspear?
Possibly. It seems the people at Altamont Gas must have missed it.
Well, it certainly seems to go all the way through to the inside.
Yes, but there's no way a coin could fit through here.
That's true, but even so, it seems a little more it seems more than a little suspicious.
Good. We got one. I'm trying to... There we go. Now it's back to being upright. We'll look at it a bit more. That's a very sturdy looking padlock, isn't it?
And the money box is still sealed with beeswax.
Of course it is. So if Mr. Sholmes were to get up to any mischief, he'd be found out immediately.
Mr. Naruhodo, mischief of that kind is not the sort of thing that Mr. Sholmes would...
You know you didn't finish that sentence, don't you?
Well, anyway, it's understandable that the gas company would want to safeguard the money that's rightfully theirs.
But it does feel a little over the top, perhaps, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? Do, do, do. And then I guess we can check the... Oh, no. I was going to say we can check the coin slot, but it looks like... Yeah, okay. So it looks like, they sealed it with the beeswax, which is the green seal there, which is weird. And then that's it. So, yeah, we've checked it. Definitely, although at first glance, there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about it. Let's move this along, shall we? Continue with your testimony. Though I would say it has as much value as the contents of that meter. Oof. I think it should just present the meter on this, right? Because it has been tampered with.
Objection!
Yep. Okay, yeah, we don't need to go through the rest of that. Lady Altamont, I'm afraid to say that this meter clearly does show signs of having been tampered with.
What?
Get away. I've been over and over that thing. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it.
In that case, what do you have to say about the small hole that's been made at the base of the coin box?
Hole? What?
You're right. You're quite right. There's a little hole here. The meters aren't supposed to have that. None of the others do.
In other words, we can assume that Mr. Shamspeare secretly opened up this hole himself.
Yes, although I wouldn't be at all surprised, but why?
Yeah, why? I mean, it's tiny. You couldn't get a farthing thing through that.
You couldn't get a farthing through that. Farthing, I'm guessing, is some sort of coin as well. Lady Altamont, I wonder if you could give the court some more details about your meter design.
What sort of details?
Well, what I'd specifically like to know is... I mean, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that, so let's go with that. How does the meter tell the difference between different coins?
What do you mean?
Well, for example, if someone were to put in a 1 penny coin, that wouldn't work, presumably, would it?
No, of course not.
So, well, how does the meter know that the coin it's been fed is a through penny bit?
Ah, I see what you're getting at now. The meter tells coins apart by their shape and size, which includes their thickness. A threepenny bit is about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, you see. Other coins just won't fit.
Ah, I see. It's clearly been very well thought out. The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent.
As you wish, my lord.
Oh. Meters designed for coins the exact diameter and thickness of a threepenny bit. Nothing else will fit.
Hold it!
I guess I'll press this. I don't know where this is going. But conversely then, it would seem that anything matching a 3-pence coin exactly in terms of diameter and thickness could equally well be used. Would, that be true?
Well, yes, in a way. The weight comes into it to a certain extent as well.
We've thought of that, though. Anyway, if I find any fake coins inside the coin box when I empty the meter, the contract says the customer has to pay 100 times the amount they diddled as a fine. We live for moments like that, us gasmen do. Live for them. Ha ha ha.
It would seem the gas company has thought of everything. Wahoo! Hurrah for gas! Hurrah for cash! Altamont all the way!
That's quite enough of that.
Remind me, how big are 3-penny bits?
About 3/4 of an inch across.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Is this 2 centimeters measurement significant?
Or perhaps there's some other aspect of the meter's construction that we should be focusing on.
Yes, you may be right. Perhaps I should try a different tack here. Like asking about whether the meter can be dismantled, for example. Oops. Okay. I literally glanced down for half a second, and I accidentally clicked that dialogue option. So that was scary for a second. I was like, uh-oh. How can the meter be dismantled?
Dismantled?
Yes, given that there are no signs of it having been forced, I'm wondering if perhaps rather than being broken open, it might have been taken apart.
Well, yes, that does make some sense. The padlocks are made by a first-class locksmith from the finest quality steel, and the meter box itself is made from plate steel as well, welded shut to ensure it can't be opened again. I can assure you, it's quite impossible to dismantle it.
Woohoo, yeah, nothing leaks from an Altamont meter. No coins, no gas, no nothing.
I see.
The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent.
Okay then. All joints in the meter are welded shut and the lock is made from solid steel.
Hold it!
I just don't understand where this is going. Has anyone ever tried?
Oh yeah, they've tried, but they've all given up before long.
After all, if they actually broke the meter, the company would be able to take legal action.
Yes, that makes sense.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Is its welded steel construction significant? Or perhaps there's some other aspect of the meter's construction that we should be focusing on?
Circular depression on this side, 2 centimeters across. Okay.
Ah, do you think?
We did find the soap at the scene, didn't we?
Yes, there were 2 bars on that little ledge just outside the window. So we took this one. But I'm sure that when we first found it, there was some sort of reddish medallion in the middle there. I remember it clearly.
Yes, but there's no sign of it now.
Where could it have gone?
Oh, interesting. So, there was a reddish medallion in the middle of it before? I'm glad I had to check that now. Yeah, we gotta skip through this, and then we gotta present the, soap on that. Is it this? Okay. We're good. Let's go. Let me just confirm something here. If the diameter and thickness were to be correct, the meter would accept any object as if it were a threepenny bit. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, by something of a coincidence, while we were investigating in Mr. Shamspeare's room, we found a particular item that matches the dimensions perfectly.
Something the same size as a threepenny bit? What was it?
The item in question is this.
What? Have you been inhaling gas? That's a bar of soap.
It certainly looks nothing like a threepenny bit, I must say.
It looks like I'm going to have to point out exactly what I mean here. What's so important about the soap is this part here. Boop. You have to turn over the soap to see what I mean.
Ah! Are you referring to that round depression in the middle of the soap there?
That's right, a depression that's approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Or in other words, almost exactly the same size as a threepenny bit.
Get away! Does anyone here present have in their possession a threepenny bit? Quickly now, hand over your coins, ladies. No worries, you're taking back. No, yeah, exactly. No worries. No promises that I'm going to give them back. That's what I'm looking for.
It sounds rather like a highway robbery, doesn't it?
Thanks to a kind member of the public in the gallery, I have here a threepenny bit. Now, to see if it fits. My word, it couldn't be more snug.
Yes, as I suspected. This, without a doubt, is a vital clue to explain how the Altamont Gas Company is being defrauded.
Well, I don't believe it.
So, your assertion amounts to what? That some inferior bar of soap has a tentative connection to the theft of gas? Yes. The depression in the soap was clearly made by a threepenny bit.
I must concur, at least, that pushing a coin with some force into a poor quality bar of soap such as this is a remarkably simple way of replicating the coin's shape. And then you could use, well, some melted wax or something to pour into the mold. You can make fake coins in no time.
This brings all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's the method Mr. Shamspear has been using to steal the gas. That's the missing link. And now it follows if I follow the chain of thought, it's going to bring me to a new explanation for what happened that nobody's considered yet. Well, let's think about this for a second before you get into it. Right? The method that Mr. Shamspear has been using to steal the gas is that he was pouring something, some sort of liquid, into the molds that he made with the soap, right? And then he set them outside the window so that they would freeze, well, get cold and harden. And then he would put them into the gas meter. But where did the coins go? Well, where did they end up? I can only imagine that if they heated up, that's why that hole was there. Because once they stop being frozen, they lose their shape and they liquidize and come out of the bottom of the meter, right? That would be the whole reason why he did that.
But this is all nonsense. If the man had been making fake coins, my worker here would have found them when he emptied the meter.
Quite true, Lady Altamont, in the absence of some black magic that could make them disappear.
I see. That's what we're dealing with, is it? There is one form of black magic that could cause the fake coins to disappear into thin air, yes. Exactly. And the meter here gives it away.
What on earth?
There are remnants of the magical method used visible on the gas meter taken from the victim's room.
If that is your assertion, counsel, the defense will identify these remnants for the courts at once.
Where on the meter can the remnants of the method used? Isn't it just this? Well, I can't back out, so I'm just guessing it's that. We found this bar of soap at the scene of the crime, just outside the victim's window.
Outside?
Yes, outside, where you yourself, Mr. Meterman, were loitering in the freezing winter air. That's where we found this soap.
Ah, I get it.
That's right. The answer, of course, is ice. Oh, I forgot that I have an alarm on this that I never use. I need to start doing Ring Fit again.
Did you say ice?
Mr. Shamspear has been leaving soaps like this outside his window each evening, filled with water. After a night outside in the bitter cold, the water is completely frozen solid the next morning.
Then he takes his fake coins of ice and feeds them into the gas meter, giving him light and warmth in spades. As his room becomes very comfortably warm, the ice now inside the meter's coin box melts,
turning back into water and draining harmlessly away through the small hole made in the underside of the meter. That is how, without leaving any evidence of his wrongdoing, this man has been stealing Altamont gas.
Just like that, so simply. Is he trying to make us look like idiots? He's been fooling us all with some bars of soap and some water?
That's right, madam.
I don't believe it. It can't be true. Do you have any idea how much money we spent to develop that new meter? And now you have the audacity to suggest that a bit of soap and some water can render it totally useless?
I'm fairly sure I didn't design it.
Evidence.
Sorry?
I want evidence. If you're going to stand there and tell me our meters are rubbish, I want to see proof. She's very good at enforcing accountability, isn't she?
It'll be fine, Susato. Very well, Lady Altamont. If you'd like evidence, I'll provide it.
What? Mr. Naruhodo, are you saying you do actually have evidence to support this theory?
I did notice a trace of something that bothered me a little at the time. And I have a feeling that this theory we've come up with now could explain it. The piece of evidence that substantiates the theory about how Mr. Shamspear has been stealing gas is... I'm gonna check a trace of something that bothered me a little at the time. That's a straight map, that's his book receipt. We don't know about the envelope yet. It's gotta be that, because look at the...
Take that!
It's that. This is a photograph of the scene at the point when the victim was discovered, taken by Inspector Gregson, and it clearly shows the remnants of the crime carried out by Mr. Shamspear.
What remnants?
Here you can see the gas meter in the wall in Mr. Shamspear's room. Now, look closely at the floorboards directly underneath the meter.
What is that? Some kind of grubby stain?
Almost certainly, it's a water stain, resulting from the liquid that drained out of the hole made in the meter.
Ah!
If one coin gives around 2 hours of gas usage and the occupant was heating his room in all his waking hours, we can imagine he would have used around 10 of his fake coins each day. The melting ice inside the meter's coin box would have been dripping out almost constantly, leaving a stain on the floor.
This is awful.
And there's further evidence, too. Mr. Shamspear is slumped over his table, apparently having consumed strychnine. And right there next to him is a bar of soap, broken in half.
You're right.
It would appear to me then, Counsel, that the man was eating the soap.
No!
Pardon me for disagreeing with your lordship, but... certainly not.
He didn't beat about the bush there, did he?
In truth, Mr. Shamspear was found with a fork in his hand.
A meal of soap is sounding increasingly likely, Lord Van... Do you mean to say he was using that fork to...
Yes. To extract a frozen coin from the bar of soap.
Ah! but the bar broke in half. So perhaps it didn't go very well.
Good gracious.
God, this fucking gallery abuse, man. That's your second expensive bottle of wine that you've gotten rid of. Lord Van Zeeks!
I was throwing my hand up in despair, and happened to catch my hallowed bottle on the way. Pray forgive my maladroit mistake.
What is the meaning of this, Counsel?
Allow me to pose my learned friend a question. What exactly did you establish with your most recent cross-examination?
Well, that Mr. William Shakespeare is a liar and a thief. In other words, that his testimony is unreliable.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Very well, let us assume the man is a liar. Now let me pose you another question. What possible difference does that make? Well, we know that suicide can be discounted. Scotland Yard's investigation revealed no sign of another vessel that contained poison. And on the night in question, there were no visitors to the room except the accused. The young gas man's testimony, which we have no reason to doubt, has confirmed that. Furthermore, the only possible way the poison could have entered the victim's body is via the tea. The court has seen no evidence whatsoever that suggests otherwise. Even if William Shakespeare is the liar you claim him to be, if these facts have been objectively established, there's no escaping it. Therefore, in light of these facts, the prosecution calls for immediate education.
You... What?
That sounds bad.
Well, Counsel, how does the defense respond?
Mr. Naruhodo!
What was the point of that last cross-examination? Did it actually get us anywhere? Or did it make no difference at all, like Lord Van Zeeks is saying? I can't really wait and see here. I will save first, though. No, this isn't over. The defense will not rest.
What?
But, Counsel, you've successfully explained everything. You've identified and substantiated the unscrupulous method employed by Mr. Shakespeare to consume gas. What more is there to discuss?
Lord Van Zeeks just highlighted 3 facts in order to make his point. But contrary to what he would have the court believe, not all of them have been objectively established at all.
What are you trying to say, my Nipponese friend?
At least one of those so-called facts is an assumption made due to a lack of evidence. But the situation has changed now following the cross-examination of the latest witnesses to take the stand.
Don't be absurd. What is this nonsense?
Yes, when you bring everything we've learnt so far together and consider it as a whole, it's clear. There's a question that we now need to reconsider, namely... Was someone else responsible? Was there another visitor? So he says... One of these is an assumption made due to a lack of evidence. It's the tea. Because they're assuming it because there's no evidence to suggest contrary. Are we saying that the poison was in the soap? Or like in the coins that he was making in the soap? That's weird. Why would he eat that? He has to ingest it some way, shape, or form, right? Weird. I don't know. I guess we'll go with this though. We've all been led to believe that the strychnine poison that afflicted Mr. Shamspear was in the tea brought to him by Mr. Natsume, but that's conjecture at best. The victim has testified that nothing else passed his lips that night. There is no other possibility. And since there was no trace of the tea left at the scene, it couldn't be tested for traces of the poison. As I said, the situation has changed, because in fact, some of Mr. Natsume's tea was left at the scene, and a particular piece of evidence proves it. A ludicrous claim. Scotland Yard detectives investigated the scene exhaustively. What evidence are you suggesting they missed?
The defense has made a bold claim indeed. Very well, counsel. Present your proof. What evidence from the scene of the crime can tell us about the nature of the defendant's tea?
The nature of the defendant's tea. Well, it's this, right? Because it says that there's no tea-rine on the inside of Mr. Natsume's cup. Well, I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to come back in the next episode. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye!